Everybody ready? LMC ready? Thank you.
Thank you, LMC.
Good evening and welcome to Village of Mamaroneck Board of Trustees work session on the tentative budget. And tonight we're going to be talking about the fire department and the DPW. First, I need a motion to open this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Jerry, who do you want to start with, the DPW or the fire department?
Probably for the first time ever, they're the same person.
Yes.
We're going to start with the DPW this way. Assistant General Foreman Pablo Ruiz can go home early and James has to stay.
For those who don't know, we have Mr. Barney here, who is the head of DPW and is also the first fire chief in the Village of Mamaroneck. James, thank you for coming here tonight. And he's ably assisted by his assistant general foreman, Pablo Ruiz. Thank you, gentlemen. And Jerry, you're going to be starting the presentation, or is James?
James will do the presentation. Dan, I think, is controlling the screen.
You're on, James. Yeah, is it on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Board, just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be here. And, you know, I've worked with you now for 12 months. I've pride over being here and being able to actually present the budget for the first time is an honor. And I believe Pablo feels the same way after his years of service here. Just thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Rather than read a long narrative that has been done in the past, we decided to put a slideshow together.
Good. I'm a visual learner.
Mamaroneck Department of Public Works, General Foreman James Point, myself, and Assistant General Foreman Pablo Ruiz. Short overview. The Department of Public Works is responsible for the overall operation and maintenance of the village's public works infrastructure, including 96 lane miles of village-owned roadway, 16 village facilities, and the village fleet of vehicles. The department employs 43 people spanning multiple divisions. If you're not aware, there's organizational charts, which is a basis to regular ICS systems. It's recognized really the country. This is the general breakdown of how it works is organized from top to bottom. I'll go through the different divisions. The administrative division. The DPW office is the forefront of all DPW projects and initiatives. The office's responsibilities include, but are not limited to, operational management, budget preparation, capital planning, file maintenance, billing and invoice prep, complaints and concerns, work orders, reviewing and issuing street opening permits, record keeping, data tracking, New York State and Westchester refuse material tracking. That's our recycling, our refuse, our food scrap, all of the material that has to be discarded and taken somewhere else. Our office manages all those numbers. DEC pesticide permits, which we have to apply for every year. Annual waste and recycling reports. And all the utility companies that do work in this village, all of that permitting and all of that overseeing those jobs and making sure our roads and sidewalks are restored properly, that all goes through the office and administrative.
Street opening permits,
Everything.
curb cuts.
Yes.
Can I just ask you something about the organizational chart? You don't have to flip back to it, but it has heavy MEOs and regular MEOs. What's the distinction?
A heavy MEO by definition is a Class A driver's license holder, meaning they can operate a tractor trailer.
Okay.
A regular MEO or just an MEO can operate a Class B vehicle, which is anything over 26,000 pounds.
A front loader. Or...
Front end loader, dump trucks, salters,
Okay.
those nature.
Thank
The MEOs, we have 3 of them, and they have a lot more responsibility that they carry on their shoulders every day. And they do a lot of different tasks that the MEOs don't.
Thank you.
Our sanitation division is comprised of both the men on the streets as well as the men working behind the scenes at the transfer station. Responsibilities of the sanitation department include, but are not limited to, twice a week rear yard trash collection, once a week curbside recycling collection, once a week food scrap collection, bulk waste pickup, that's your metal waste and large couches and materials like that that wouldn't normally be, picked up behind your house. Yard waste, April through October, weekend business district pickup, that's Mamaroneck Avenue, Boston Post Road, any of the businesses that are running all day, all weekend. We don't make them wait on Saturdays and Sundays for Monday because it looks terrible on Mamaroneck Avenue.
And they don't do the parks, right? The parks do the parks, the garbage in the park?
The Parks Department picks up the cans inside each park on their scheduled shifts.
Okay.
And then, I guess as you start in May, I guess they do weekends.
They do the weekends, okay. Thank you.
And the sanitation department also supports the highway division when needed. If we know we have a very long snowstorm or operation going on, we bring them in because they are all capable of operating the same equipment that we do. So we start to stagger shifts if we know we're going to be around there a while. Highway division responsibilities. Highway department takes the lead on all projects that make our village functional and beautiful. The responsibilities of the highway department include but are not limited to asphalt road maintenance, whether it's the temporary filling of potholes or the permanent repair, which prevents us from having to completely blacktop an entire street. Maintenance of the right of way, that's the space between the curb and a person's home, for anyone that doesn't know. That's not quite ours and not quite yours. But we have to maintain that. We have to make sure it's proper. We're responsible for all the trees. Tree care, tree stump removal after trees are taken down, sidewalk repair, catch basin repair, and pipe repair. Street sweeping, leaf removal, snow and ice control and removal, river and dam maintenance and cleaning, which is something that we've always done the dam maintenance and we've always cleaned around the bridge abutments. But what we started in the last year is a very strong push on constant cleaning of the rivers. We spent countless hours with the manpower in the water, pulling branches and garbage and any type of obstruction out of the river. And the guys are really, after picking up all the trash and destroyed belongings of everyone for so many days, the guys were really, really happy to be doing something to try to prevent that from ever happening again. I've never seen so many people just volunteer to come and work every single afternoon and every single weekend, even with overtime. You can't get people to commit like that. And they did. They were there every single day.
It's cold, dirty, wet work.
Yeah, it's cold. Water's cold. I mean, we're starting on Monday and the water's 42 degrees and we'll be out there. Collaborating with sanitation, parks, police, fire, and the engineer's office on all the major emergencies and ongoing projects that the village has started. The sewer division focuses on maintaining village sewer infrastructure at all times. The responsibilities of the sewer department include sewer maintenance and jetting. For those of you who don't know, we have a industrial sized roto-rooter truck, and we can clean any line despite size, it doesn't matter. Sanitary sewer pump station and siphon maintenance, storm sewer maintenance, catch basin cleaning. We have 1,500 catch basins in this village. We try to clean 300 a year. It's hard, but we do. Cleaning the catch basins is a very heavy task, but it is very important. And we focus on that the months of April and May very heavily. And we try to get as many done as we can. We have to get those catch basins cleaned prior to June, when we have to treat the catch basins for mosquitoes. Because once we treat them, we can't clean them out. Sewer department's responsible for all of our code 53 markings to make sure that our infrastructure does not get hit by any of the contractors or utility companies. And the sewer department also is working very, very in depth with the engineer's office with the major sewer upgrades going on. We've also been working with several outside contractors for the larger projects that we're not able to do in-house. The sign and traffic division bears the responsibility of ensuring our village is safe. Responsibility of the sign and traffic department include installing new signs, signals, and road markings according to new adopted resolutions. Repair and replace existing traffic signage and road markings. Deploy barricades before and during storms and emergencies. And posting no parking for various events, incidents, and other work to be done in our other departments. The traffic division also supports with necessary road closures, whether we are working or there's the county's here or any type of entity needs support to block a lane. We've also been working as a sign and traffic division. They've also been working to create new ideas to calm traffic. There's been a huge ask from the residents to come up with new ways and new ideas to get people to be more alert and slow down. So we're doing the best we can to come up with some innovative ideas. The traffic division also reviews resident concerns and requests to improve the safety of our streets. Last but not least is our central garage. Our central garage takes command on ensuring all our vehicles and equipment are maintained and ready to go at a moment's notice. While the public works is not an emergency service, throughout the country, it's becoming more and more evident that it is. Obviously, with me in the two roles that I am in, public works is being called on a lot more than it would have been in the past. But it seems to be working out very well because we have the equipment and the manpower ready to give everything that they need to give. We maintain over 100 village-owned vehicles. That all the maintenance and oil changes and inspections are all handled by our 4 mechanics. They also conduct emergency snow repairs. They maintain our generators that back up every village building. They keep a parts inventory. They also maintain the transfer station, which is a huge undertaking. It's a very complex machine with a lot of complex electronics in it, and there is no other mechanic for it. The only person that ever worked on them is now retired. So they undertook it, they took the book out and they started figuring out how the thing works, and they have been repairing it themselves now for over a year since the flood. They also support the highway department during emergencies at times of need. So that's the presentation.
The garage does the garbage trucks too?
Yeah, the garage works on minor repairs to police cars that aren't going out elsewhere. Flat tires, parking enforcement, highway, parks, building department. They service the fire chief's vehicles, all the smaller vehicles, and most recently we started working on small repairs on the fire apparatus. Since the only show in town is now in Brewster.
Yeah.
So we felt that it made more sense to try to keep our assets and equipment close by in case there's any.
Okay. Very nice presentation. Jerry, do you have anything to add?
Mayor, no, we should go right into the budget numbers or any questions that the board has. There are a couple of points that I want James to make regarding revenue and increases in revenue that we're asking for based on various reasons. But James and Public Works has several, I think, 3, Laura, or 4 different budgets. And so unless there's specific questions, it's probably going to take a long time to go through them all. I don't think that that's of any value. There are some increases, but very minor. For instance, there's one increase in training and conferences or dues and subscriptions because Mr. Barney, Chief Barney, is very focused on continuing to send himself and as well as his staff for whatever training opportunities are available. In fact, even before James was considered for the position, we started taking training classes and specialized DOT courses on his own time before he was even promoted to the department head. So I think there's quite a few actually, right, Laura? I think, what do we have? 4 or 5? 1, 2. How many budgets does the James? How many numbers do you have as far as
I think it's
7 budgets? 1490. Okay.
Yeah, those are the big ones, 1490, 5110.
5110. I'm just gonna, James, just to get through this quickly, I'm gonna go through a couple of things that are increases. No sense in talking about the flat items because they're operational items. We did have a slight increase in overtime for the painting unit. That's probably because that-
3310.
that's minor. That's $500 an increase. It just looks like a lot. Oh, so let's talk about James, 3310 sign materials, aluminum blanks, heat paper. We have an increase of about 57%. We're going from 7,000 to about 11,000. Explain to the board what you're experiencing there, or Pablo, what you're experiencing there.
So that's on page 9 of the hand,
Thank you.
third of the way down.
That's the,
So I'm gonna hand over the microphone to Assistant Ruiz. There's no one in this village that knows or something in that department better than him, because that's where he came from. So I'm gonna have
Agreed.
hello,
Yeah, Pablo.
him get a little closer.
yeah, so the increase in the material is obviously because of the price increase on everything. I just brought a little example of what we used to pay a year ago for the regular sign 18, which was like $4.50. And today we're paying over $6 for each one of them.
Wow.
We used to pay that for hundreds of them.
Right,
That's a lot of money.
it's a 33%
And
increase.
also, the post,
Paint.
the paint, even nuts and bolts, everything has increased in price a lot.
Great, thank you.
If we want to go to page 23, I think the board will be interested in page 23, which is Group 4, 8140-0421. There is a 324.5% increase in that contract services line.
Where?
You said page 23?
8140 is page 21 on our.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not us.
Thanks, James. I'm looking online. So
Okay,
it's the bottom of page 21 out of 29, and it is 8140-0421. Nothing will be a surprise except the number is a giant increase. And
Stormwater management?
it's stormwater management. That's correct. So you can see the difference and the commitment that we're making in this budget.
Right, so when you say stormwater management, what you're talking about is the men going into the river to clean up?
Yeah, so river cleaning and channeling, we increased that by $70,000. And we also added our first year of emergency work for the Army Corps of Engineers 5-year projection of $350,000 for every 5 years. So we're adding $70,000 in maintenance there. Although the Army Corps is not actually doing any active construction right now, we thought it was important to add, excuse me, to add the $70,000 to demonstrate to the Army Corps that we're making a commitment of $70,000 per year to focus just on the Army Corps emergency work. Basically, it's doing whatever we need to keep the Army Corps project viable every single year.
So is it it's possible that the Army Corps wouldn't need us to do anything, but we're ready in case they do?
Right, but what this also, you're exactly right, Nora, but what this also does is it allows us to, if we do work through that $93,000, which is basically river cleaning by contract services, outside services,
Mhm.
and we overextend that or we expend that, we still have the $30,000, the $70,000 to tap into if we need to.
We're gonna have to sign an operations and maintenance agreement with the Army Corps.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna be required to do all the maintenance on an annual basis.
We have to get used to that number. Yeah.
We have to get used to that number, right? So it's in the budget now, and it's ours freely to use if we needed to for additional work. And that 93 and 70, I want to add, is in addition to the 1.3 that the board committed to doing the dredging by outside contractor. Once we get our permit and GEI has completed the full 10-year permit, then we will start with the contractor coming in. As I've said in the past, the contractor can't come in and work without that full 10-year Army Corps and the DOS permit.
Right.
As everything else seems to be, excuse me, somewhat flat. We really don't have too many increases, just some slight increases here and there.
Well, what were you saying about revenue enhancements?
Go ahead, James. We talked earlier today.
So there's not too many ways that public works can increase revenue. Try again. No good?
With the green light on?
How about now?
Yeah, you run now.
Too many buttons on this. Very fancy. There's obviously not too many ways that public works can increase revenue. But we noticed that the road opening permit fees have not been increased in 5 years. Obviously, the cost of asphalt, the cost of labor, the cost of pipe material. The reason that we charge the road opening fees and a deposit or bond is if we find in years to come that the restoration of our assets and our property was not done properly, we can restore it ourselves.
Right.
And the fees that we're currently charging will not cover any of that work anymore. So it was recommended that we increase those fees. That's the first way we're trying to increase the revenue. We've also decided that recommended that the food scrap be charged, whoever is going to enroll in that program be charged moving forward per household. And then that be increased the following year again. The food scrap is a rather expensive program. And while it seems to be popular and working, it does cost us quite a bit of money that we never anticipated. So those are two things that we're doing to try to increase the revenue from public works.
Do you think that by charging people to participate in the food scrap program, that the membership might decrease? It's just people don't feel like paying for it. They just rather throw their stuff in like what's
It's
already.
hard to tell. There are a lot of people that are very dedicated to the process and they enjoy it. And I think that you will have a significant amount of people pay the fee.
Okay,
There's a lot of people that enrolled just because it was a free pilot program and have never even put material out
right.
at all. Right? And we have to drive that same route every day to make sure that it is or isn't out. And that information was recorded by the people picking it up.
Yep.
So we do feel that if we're going to have enrollees and they pay, it will justify having the personnel out there making the collection.
And some people, if they haven't been putting food scraps out there, may not enroll.
Correct.
Right, they may not, but there are a significant amount of every week people that are constantly doing it.
And people can still bring it on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
On Saturdays they can bring it at any time during the day, during the week, all week long. And they can also bring Saturday from 9 to
Oh, I
1.
thought it was gonna be limited. Okay.
It was limited in the beginning when we didn't have designated staff to pick it up. And now we have part-time staff that are
Okay,
making the pickup, so we were able to keep the recycling unit open.
thank you.
We did. Go ahead, Jerry.
Mayor, so we're charging, we're asking the public to pay approximately $2 a week for the food scrap program. And if we maintain the same number of customers that we have now, we're basically collecting $600 a week to do so. So that covers our costs at a bare minimum.
Okay.
It's a fair request, I think.
All right. Is that it for the DPW presentation?
Are there any other questions?
Does the board have any questions for the general foreman?
No, that was my one.
James, you do have to talk about the salt and the situation with the salt. The fact that we're overstocked on salt, but we have to make a commitment anyway. I think the board should know what we know.
So road salt is a very sensitive subject throughout the Northeast as it has not snowed. It did not snow really. You have to commit by April 1 to ordering a certain amount of salt. And if you don't meet that amount, you have to pay for storage. So on top of not getting it, you have to pay them X amount of dollars for every month that it's stored. And then when you order it, you pay for it to get it anyway. If you underestimate, you pay a premium for going over your estimate. So it's a very complicated balance to make. Our salt shed is completely stocked. I got as much into that shed as we could and we met our quota, so we will not be charged any extra. But we significantly decreased the commitment this year to what we project we're going to use, which could potentially cost us more if we have a bad winter, because we'll be buying more
Next
than
winter.
we guaranteed.
So how
But
do you,
either way, you wind up paying more money,
so we have a full salt shed now.
completely full.
Now, but you're still purchasing,
More.
right?
We're not purchasing any at all right now. But by April 1st, I had to commit to what we will get from September 1 to April 1 the next year.
And
You
how
have
much-
to tell them ahead of time,
And how much was that? Like another full load?
1,000 tons.
What's normal?
In the last 6 years, the average that we used was 1,400 tons.
Okay.
So we decreased it significantly. Hopefully, it's not a terrible winter, but there's no way to project how much you're going to use. And I didn't want to guarantee them what we've been buying with a full shed
Where are we gonna put it?
and not make that minimum, because then it costs us money as well.
Yep.
Do we have any additional storage ability at all?
Not only do we have no other place to store it temporarily, because of our proximity to the waterways, we can't even put it in a parking lot and tarp it like they do in the city. So we are very limited at how much we
Because
can
we had to-
actually stock.
We had to build that salt shed. I think I was a trustee when we built that salt shed because
Yeah.
the New York State was on our case because we just dumped it in that parking lot for
Right.
use.
Is there a spot, I mean, maybe at Harbor Island or something, we're out of the way where we could temporarily store and
Anything within, I don't know what the actual distance is to any type of waterway, has to be completely enclosed.
as soon as I said it's Harbor Island.
Yeah,
Is it possible that we can, is it possible that we can share a space with another municipality? Are they willing?
in the past, we have, loaned out when people were short and we've gotten it back later but everyone's in the same position we're in. They all had their
Right,
quotas that
right.
they had to make. And they are,
Everybody,
everyone from Yonkers to Stanford is maxed out on how much salt they have.
yeah.
It's one of those things where you realize, boy, I wish I was in that business.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
Because it's amazing. The only thing that may help us a little bit next year is that we're going in with the town of Mamaroneck as a shared service to do a brine machine, an automatic brine machine. So we may have some loads that go to the town of Mamaroneck because brine is 26% salt and the balance of water. So we do have some. James, we must have sent in the past a couple of loads to them when we were taking brine from them, correct?
Yeah, so if the temperature is proper and the prediction is proper for a storm, we usually use 2 to 3 tanks of brine to do our main roads and our hills.
Right.
We estimate that 2 truckloads of salt per storm is the balance between what we're using brine wise, and we just give them back the salt for that.
And that uses less salt for more coverage, right, when we brine?
It's not really comparable to salting the roads. It's more of it buys you a little bit of time if you know that you don't know when it's going to start snowing and you want to make sure that your employees it buys you time to get the employees in. It doesn't take the place of
Salting.
salting.
Right,
or
you
planting.
apply it before it snows.
Yeah,
But-
it's a preventive measure that can buy you time and also keep from causing freezing on the road before you can apply other.
But it's more efficient than just salting the road before it snows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
That's-
Yeah.
The brine machine that we're going in with them, what did you say, or,
Automatic brine maker, Lou.
and where is that?
That'll be at the Maxwell yard at the town of Mamaroneck. So instead of having a staff person for the town to mix the brine, the machine, this equipment will make it automatically. We would just go there and fill up and just record the number of tanks that we have, instead of having the town of Mamaroneck staff do it. That's what was the problem in the past, that they didn't want to commit to staff and we needed the brine. So now that machine will be, it's an automatic mixer. So we just go and pick it up whenever we want it.
I noticed an increase in drug and alcohol testing and pest control exterminator. It's just a few $1,000s, but what's that? Are we testing more, or is the materials more expensive?
The testing is increased in cost. We also we were behind after the flooding and everything. We were very behind in drug and alcohol testing, actually almost non-compliant with the federal guidelines just because of the delay that we had and what was going on. So we have to guarantee a certain amount of testing every year. So we have to actually catch up with that.
It's random testing.
It's completely random, but you still have to test. It's like there's a particular percentage of employees per month, per year, and per quarter. It's just the way it works out. And we were so behind that we're still trying to catch up with that number.
And is this a new baseline, or is this just a temporary catch-up increase?
It's just the increase of the service charge from the company. They come down to us. They don't go there like we did years in the past.
Well, so is this likely to be the same next year? Or
I believe that it should be the same next year because we won't be trying to catch up with past backdated testing. So if we were supposed to test 24 people, say, in 2021. We only tested 10. By law, we still have to test those people even though we're in 2022.
Mhm.
So there's the random drawings continue and we have to catch up with those numbers. So by the time this budget year will be complete, we will be back to the normal random selections quarterly and that's it.
And so
Oh, go ahead.
if the price goes up, you'll be okay. And if the price doesn't go up, it could be a little bit less in the budget.
Exactly.
Anybody else have
Thank
questions?
you.
Mm-mm.
All right, let's go to the fire department.
Next.
Pablo, feel free to go home to your family.
They'll have you.
The fire-
Thank you for coming tonight. James gonna put on his other hat.
Good night.
Hands.
Thank you for coming, Tom.
Good night, Pablo.
Bye, Pablo.
Thanks, Paul.
Good
night.
night.
All right. So once again, I'd like to apologize. Chief Simpson went home from work ill today. So he didn't want to try to be here and get
No need
anybody
to
sick.
apologize.
And Chief Unuzi is working his
Regular.
number one job in New Rochelle today. We didn't feel that it was necessary to bore with the normal narrative, so we did another PowerPoint presentation. Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department, Chief of Department, myself, Thomas Simpson and Michael Unuzi as Assistant Chiefs. Some quick fire department statistics. The fire department responds to community's needs by providing professional services that are crucial to the safety, health, and welfare of the community. We currently have 195 members, 99 of which are interior. We have 135 pagers in service. Those pagers are the lifeline. That's how we know where we need to go, when we need to go. That's what wakes everyone up in the middle of the night. And you will see in the budget lines why the radio communications have been so increased so much over the last years. Is because the county changed the pager service and we had to change frequencies and all of our current infrastructure for that was obsolete.
Mhm.
We have 54 apparatus operators. We responded to 41 confirmed fire-related incidents this year. Over 3,180 hours of training last year. And we respond to approximately 1,100 emergency calls for service in 1 year. Again, you'll see the fire department organizational chart. It's, again, like I'll say, it's an accepted standard to explain how everyone reports to each other and where responsibility falls. Our fire department is comprised of 5 companies, 4 engine companies, and 1 hook and ladder company. We also have a marine division and a support division. Engine company responsibilities and specialties are initial fire attack, getting water on the fire, making sure that the incident does not spread. Establishing positive water source, which is hooking that fire hydrant on the street to the engines in front of the house. Fire suppression, salvage. Salvage is very important for our volunteers who lived here and grew up here. They want to make sure that we're not causing or allowing any further damage after that fire is put out. Auto accident fluid spill mitigation, whether it be radiator fluid or oil in the roadway after an accident, and jaws of life extrication. That's what we do when there's car accidents. Ladder company specialties and responsibilities are search and rescue. They're that initial into the house, into the building, making sure that there's no occupants or victims and bringing them outside. Ventilation, that allows our engine company crews to quickly get to the seat or the base of a fire, because by ventilating, we can see where we're going and it takes the heat off of us. They also specialize in salvage, rope rescue, elevator rescues, and confined space rescues.
You get elevator rescue training?
We do.
Okay.
They get it, we all get it in our basic classes. We have extensive classes, and then we do training on it every couple of years. We have a company that comes in.
Oh, yeah, he was in my union, that guy. I know who he is. I forget his name.
Dragon Ed.
Dragon Eddie, yeah, Dragon Eddie.
Yeah,
Is there a height for the elevators that limits you with your training, or you,
nope, any building in the village that has an elevator, we know how to open it, we know how to shut it down, and depending on what specific building we're in will be the direction that we attack the problem at. It is all situational, but there's no, I mean, something really extensive or a real catastrophic event, obviously, we would probably call in some extra hands. But we are trained to work on any elevator that in the village that we currently have.
and if you're called for a mutual aid, I mean, is there, in other words, is there, I don't know, can you, I mean, you can do 5 stories, but not 8. I don't know. I mean,
Well, in the village, I believe there's a moratorium. There's nothing in this village that's more than 6 stories.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have hydraulic elevators, which are a maximum of 3 stories. And then we have, you know, your regular cable driven elevators. But we have the equipment to work on. We have the ropes, we have everything that we need if we were to need to work on any of the elevators in the village.
now let's say if you were called out, you know, to mutual aid, would there be, you said that one's too big?
Not particularly, because you can always just work from the floor above wherever the issue is, rather than going all the way to the top. But again,
It's about extraction of.
everything is situational, and the priority is to just get the person that's stuck in the elevator out of the elevator.
Got it.
So it's, I can't say that there's one that we definitely can or definitely can't, because there's no way to know where and how it's going to get stuck. Every situation is different.
Understood.
Did you ever get there and the elevator company's gotten there first? Or?
Very rare.
Yeah. See, in the city, when I was at Paul years ago, what happened was if somebody got stuck, the building would call the elevator company. You'd get there and get the passenger out. But what's happened over the past 15 years is 50% of the time I get there and the fire department, because the person in the elevator called 911. And so I'd get there and I'd go up to the chief or the captain or whoever was there. And I'd say to them, you know, if you want me to help, if you want me to get him out, then you guys got to get out of the way. If you want to get him out, then I'll get out of the way. And sometimes the guy would say, yeah, go ahead, do it. But sometimes the guy would say, nah, too late. Just, you know.
We also have our Marine Division. For those of you who don't know, we have over 2 miles of coastline on the village. A lot of waterfront property. We have over 5 marinas and clubs that all have dock space besides our municipal dock space. We're responsible for search and rescue, boats capsizing, kayakers, anything going on out on Long Island Sound. We are the only permanent fireboat that's in the water during the summer from New Rochelle to Greenwich. So we cover a lot of territory. We also, we offer fire protection for all the vessels in the water and fire protection for additional fire protection for the homes and marinas on the water. We also respond to fluid spills like oil, sheens, and stuff to try to prevent damage to the ecosystem and anything traveling further out into Long Island Sound. Some information on department training. Our trainings include hazardous material mitigation, weapons of mass destruction training, federally mandated incident management training, safe driving tactics for emergency vehicles, certified first responder, which is a medical course, vehicle extrications, water rescue operations for both the harbor and Long Island Sound, physical conditioning strength training, CPR, and other firefighting tactics. We average between 3,000 and 4,000 hours of training a year. Extrication training, bailout and self-rescue. You'll see a few photos there where when I mentioned interior active firefighters earlier, that's 99 firefighters that have all gone out of a 2-story window on a rope, practicing to self-extract themselves in a bad situation. So that's the difference when you see the 195 and the 99. That's the difference. Engine company operations and ladder company operations. Our support division comprised of our records officer, training officer, and medical officer. Records officer takes care of all New York State fire reporting, training records, medical records, and maintenance records of all the apparatus. Our training officer schedules all of our mandatory training, our OSHA training, our harassment trainings, and all of our hands-on firematic trainings, whether we're doing them in-house at the firehouses, or we're at Westchester County, or we're taking a course that somebody signed up for and we're going, the training officer schedules all of that information. He also helps with the captains of the companies and organizes the company level training that's going to be going on. Handline operation, ladder operation, the bailout classes and demonstrations, and the extrication techniques that we go over with the jaws of life. Our medical officer schedules our mandated physicals. NFPA, the National Fire Protection Agency, has a very, very strict requirement for medical clearance for interior firefighters. And our medical officer spends the time to organize, make sure our physicals, our company comes to us once a year, and make sure that our fit tests, our massive fit tests are done properly so that all of our members can be as physically fit and safe as possible. And then the last slide is just a few action photos of what we've been to in the last year and a half.
The members, I presume everybody, all firefighters are trained in CPR and,
No, that's actually incorrect. We are not. It is, CPR is not a requirement, of our department.
It's more so
Just-
EMS.
Yeah, it's more so EMS. I mean, there's always been, the discrepancy is once you're trained, you're almost required to act.
yeah.
And we never wanted to put our volunteers into that position. But there are many that have their CPR and first aid training and renew it on a regular basis.
On their own.
Oh, we offer it if they want to take it.
It's not mandatory.
But it's not me.
Is there resistance to learning it or?
I wouldn't call it resistance. I just think that some people,
Make a choice.
yeah.
It's a serious choice. If you are certified, like you said, if you're certified, you gotta act. And if you're not necessarily have that, I don't know, because even in volunteering for fire departments, that's no. It's like you have to act. It's like being a police officer, those type of but it is.
It's never been a
personal.
requirement. It's never been pushed. It's
Yeah.
not mandated by the state or anything anywhere else. So it's not something that we ever push for. But we offer it to those that want to take it.
Questions?
No.
Is there changes to the budget that we should be aware of?
I don't think there's much, except there's one item I want to bring to the board's attention, but in reality, the fire budget is basically flat. I think there's a 1.5% increase overall in the budget. Let's look at page. I want to get to the bottom. Page 2 of 5. It's the very bottom. So the vehicles are serviced twice a year. As you can see in the past, we've used every bit, if not a little bit more of the anticipated or the allotted budgeted amount of $120,000. This year, we're doing really, really well as far as our service. A lot of it has to do with bringing in new apparatus and finally, getting a break on that. What we did want to do is make sure that we take a look at this. We've got, what is it, James? Probably another $20,000 left in service cost that we need this year.
So the actual services of the vehicle, oil change, rear end, lubrication, all that stuff can cost anywhere between $5,000 and $12,000. And that's as long as nothing's broken, actually broken or found broken. We have 4 apparatus left that need to go in before June 1, obviously. So that, that number could potentially be less, but there's no way of knowing until it gets to the actual shop and look at it.
So there is value in continuing to keep up with our apparatus and not have, that extended long-term apparatus, because we do save annually on some of those things. Other than that, there's nothing of real concern. James, you did have an increase in Scott packs. No, not Scott packs.
No.
Bottles, right? That's cost. That's only because of cost, correct?
Yeah, there's a projected increase in the cost of each individual bottle and the masks that our firefighters wear. So I'm trying to figure that in now so that I don't have to ask you for more money later on when you have to replace that stuff.
And then regarding the cleaners at the firehouse, which probably save us a lot of money, even though they have a small stipend. We typically increase their stipend by whatever percentage the board decides to increase non-represented employees. But I think if we had to hire a cleaning company for that, it would easily cost more than the $43,000 we're paying for cleaners.
And there'd have to be somebody from the fire department there, wouldn't there?
There's definitely, right, there's definitely access concerns, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
They know that.
and the amount of hours that these particular people are putting into the firehouses themselves,
Mhm.
just because of the pride and the fact that it's theirs. There's no cleaning company that you could hire that's going to clean these buildings for what it's costing to clean these buildings.
And they know the equipment, they
They
something
know
went
what
wrong.
they can touch,
Yeah.
what they can't touch. Definitely a security and safety issue too to have some.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Any other questions?
No. You are much appreciated.
Yeah, James, thank you. You did a double duty today. Much appreciated, my friend.
Thank you very much. I signed up for double duty, so here I am. But thank you very much.
Appreciate it. We really do.
Yeah, James, in 2 years, we could give you a break, but you got a tough 2 years ahead of you, buddy.
In 2 years, I'm not sure I'm gonna know what to do with all my free time.
You're gonna
Yeah, I
figure
know
it
the
out.
feeling, James.
That's funny.
We'll think of something. Maybe we'll play pickleball, James.
All right.
I'd like to take a motion to adjourn.
Well, I'm sorry.
Do you?
I wanted to talk about what we heard yesterday. Go ahead. All right, I think what we heard is was alarming and may impact. We need to discuss what we might do about it.
I don't see how it impacts this budget.
Would it impact tomorrow's budget? Like with the village manager? Like that?
Say that again?
Would it be a better conversation for tomorrow because it's under the village managers and the clerk treasurer? Not this particular one with DPW.
Why don't you say what you think?
What I think is, what I heard yesterday is that the library is going to close. And unless we do some financial moves here, and I'm not at all comfortable with the time frame and with the amounts I heard, with the lack of detail with any of it. And it's our library, and they told us it's going to close. And
Look, I don't think that's accurate. I think that they told us if we don't do this, it'll close.
yeah, well, I don't see a way to do it with the information we have. So I'm alarmed. I'm alarmed.
Okay, I understand that, and
So I think we need to discuss what we want to do going forward. I mean, I think I think what we saw yesterday was a dramatic gaping financial hole that they just laid out without any details, and the existence of the library hangs in the balance. And I think we need to. I don't want to, but I think we need to discuss how we're going to proceed. Or at least begin to prepare for that. I mean, either. There's a number of, I want to perhaps elimination of the special taxing district, perhaps, but I don't know.
Yeah, and
It's our tax money. It's yeah.
I understand that, but the elimination of if it comes to a point where we need to eliminate the special district, it takes legislation,
Mhm.
and none of that's going to happen before June 1st.
Well, we don't know that.
I don't. Albany's in the middle of budget season. It has to be approved by the legislature, the Senate, and then the governor.
Well, then we need to get our representatives in here and
Well, that would definitely impact our budget, because then you're putting the library back on our budget.
well, if it's that or lose it, then we need to tackle that.
But you're making, in my view, you're making a choice. That's not the real choice. It isn't do that or lose it. It's they proposed a system where they begin to dig out of this. Granted, they need to give us more information, but I am not at all ready to take on the responsibility of the library. And and especially to take over the responsibility of something that's in crisis, without giving the people who were elected to manage that crisis the opportunity to try and fix it. And if they don't fix it in the future, that might be where we have to go. But I think it's premature to say we have to do that now.
So even to say that, I can't even place blame on any person.
It's not a matter of blame.
It's not a matter of blame, but they are in a crisis. So even if we can't bond that money, the library will close. I want to be
Yes,
clear. If
don't-
they can't bond that money, the library will close because they can't do it on their own at this point.
That's correct.
So and maybe I wasn't in the right head frame or mind frame yesterday, but there are a lot, like Lou said, there are a few gaps that are of concern in terms of accountability on my part. I still want to see more, and I should have said it yesterday, but I still want to see more in terms of what measures or what is being done so that we know that this is not going to go down the same rabbit hole it did before. Because then either way, we are putting ourselves in a predicament, regardless if we take over or we bond. And that's definitely a conversation, whether we have it tonight, tomorrow, Monday, that was planned. Just questions.
Yeah, I understand it, and they're good questions, and Lou's points are, actually good points. I just think a little ahead of the game. I think that what we should do is, see what it takes to do a tax anticipation note, ask the library for more information, about, how they're going to handle their finances going forward before we approve a tax anticipation note. And because at this point, if the doors close on June 1st and we've done nothing, I don't think that's a good thing for the community.
No, that's why I want to do something.
But taking over the library by June 1st is not, we're not prepared to do that.
It's not feasible.
It's just not feasible, and it's gonna look like we're being authoritarian and we're, not allowing the people who elected, whether, it's a 200-person election or a 2,000-person election, they were elected under the New York State law to do that job. You could have opinions about how that job was done, and I'm sure everybody does, but right now, that's their job.
They're
I,
asking us for money. If they hadn't come to us, it wouldn't be our problem. But they came to us and they waited way too long.
it would have, well, I think, placing blame is.
Not placing blame.
But we just said they waited too long. I think that the process, even if it were a good idea, which I don't think it is, for us to take over the library, I don't think it's something we can do on our own. I think it's something that the library has to request. The library.
I think it was created by special legislation. Special
So,
legislation, unless there's something in the special legislation that talked about this solution.
And
It would require.
And the special legislation required a referendum.
right,
So I would imagine you need special legislation to dissolve it and then a referendum to dissolve.
so I think even having the conversation, the first step is, what are the steps that would have to happen to do it if the parties wanted to do it?
Special legislation is a months,
Right.
sometimes year-long
It's not
process.
even done on time, and they're only in Albany through part of June, so
Yeah, yeah.
we, that seems like, that seems unrealistic. But, and even if that, but I think that we need to find, but the other thing that is that we, if the library can't pay their bond, then the village is obligated to pay the bond.
Yeah.
And, the asset is the building, but I don't think that's a good choice for us. So I think we have to think about, what's required if we, help them get through this period, which is like the emergency period. But what's required long-term for what $9 million is left on the bond? That is our responsibility, no matter what.
And I think there's gonna come a focal point. And I think the focal point is gonna be when they propose the next budget, and the next budget comes up for voters in December.
Mhm.
And that budget should cover our TAN, right? That's the idea, is that, so they're gonna have to increase that budget
Mhm.
by a lot.
Mhm.
Which is going to be difficult in the current environment. I feel, as someone who's been involved in a few elections in this community, it'll be a different voter turnout than there usually is in those elections. So if at that point that budget fails, then what happens, what I found out today is it reverts to the current budget.
Yes,
So
which doesn't account
which
for that
doesn't,
10.
at which point then I think we would be in a good position to say, this isn't working. And, we should take it back over and then have, Steve and Shelley carry legislation to that end.
So kind of wait. Your
If-
thing is wait,
But
My thing is to see
to
how
see
it
how it plays
plays
out.
out.
But-
I think we're buying a library closure. I don't think we can give them any money under the certain under the setup they have now, which is completely opaque.
Well, I mean, I think there's three different TANs. It's not one, because they have to be paid back within a calendar, I guess a calendar year or a budget year. I don't know what the time frame is. So there's the prospect of three different TANs. It's whether or not you're right that the library should be part of another organization, which is only the village. It's not something that can happen by June 1st. It's just not feasible. So we have to figure out, we have to deal with the facts that we have, not the facts that we want.
But we also have the ability to ask them for, greater detail on how, their.
Greater detail, any detail.
Let me finish that. On how, their auditors are gonna set up a program that's transparent,
Mhm.
that's effective. And I feel fine sending that email tomorrow to the library president and saying, we want to help you, we need more detail.
Can we put our own eyes on their budget?
The budget's online. Their budget's
Yeah,
on their
they're not gonna
website.
approve the next budget until December. And I think the idea of having a liaison to the library board is probably a good idea, whether they like it or not, really. There was one when we were talking about doing the bond for that library. Bill Paness used to go to all the library board meetings. And actually, to Bill's credit, he was very instrumental in getting that bond passed. And to Bill's credit is not a word that comes out of my mouth a lot. The credit with credit's due, James.
I think we're late, and I think we need to start preparing contingencies. They had no plan B. Their plan is we give them money or they close. That was the plan I heard yesterday.
Yeah,
And that's-
you're right.
And to me, as far as I'm concerned, that means they close.
Well,
Well,
that's your vote, Lou.
I-
That doesn't mean everybody else feels that
I
way.
think we have to understand what a $300,000 TAN on a certain time frame does to our budget, what.
It
And,
doesn't affect them.
well, it would affect our budget if it didn't get paid back.
If it didn't get paid back.
So I think we
Yeah,
have
and
to
then that's
understand what
also
that
a
is.
possibility.
Then there's another greater one that's would be for September, and then there's another, which would be in this budget. And then there's another greater one, which would be for January. So they would all be part of, they all be part of planning this year's budget.
What we could,
Do we have to do
no,
all three?
what we could do is.
It's broken
I
down.
think that's what Augie said last night, is
It's
because
broken down, right?
I think the 300,000 is really to get them through those first couple of months, because, we collect the levy. And so they need cash flow from day one, because they're not gonna have all their tax levy on day one. Then there's the bond, which is due, I think they said October 1st.
Yeah.
And then I think they said that 261 in the spring. My guess is because their existing levy and the TANs are only take them so far. So they would need that final infusion of cash.
And that would be, right, and they'd be catching up with their budget, which hopefully had passed by then. Yeah. But, listen. I think this is actually a good discussion.
Yeah.
Because I think we need to approve the first 10. Let's take it a 10 at a time, okay? We approve the first 10 and say, we're not sure about the second 10 until we see, a realistic program of how going forward, this isn't gonna happen again, and going forward, how you're gonna be financially viable. So this way, we have some leverage. Because they had, Lou was right, that wasn't, the best
wasn't a full
presentation I ever
display.
saw. There should have been more meat on the bone.
And a lot of accountability.
There should have been, reports from the forensic accountant.
There's no.
There was
financial
no backup.
There's no backup. It's
And-
just
and-
we need X, Y, and Z dollars,
Yeah.
or we're not gonna be able to operate.
I
That's not enough for me.
think we need to be dealing with different people. I don't think.
We can't, they're elected officials. We can't, tell them all to resign. And I mean, that's it. They are the library board. And again, these are the facts we have. It's the cards that have been dealt. And we have to work on that. And I think the initial TAN is if we don't do that, the library closes, and I don't think any of us wants to be responsible for the library, wants not to be responsible for, but to have any part in the library closing. But what I think we just don't have enough facts. I think we need to know all of these. It's just like any bond that we do, all of these TANs come with a cost. There's an interest payment, you know, it's not, you know, it's so that, you know, the amount of money that they need for, I mean, these will be in our budget for 6 or maybe 8 years. There's not a one-shot deal.
It won't be in our budget. So
Right.
let's take that out of here. This is
But-
not gonna be in our budget unless they don't, they
Right.
default.
So I think so it's like co-signing a loan for someone. If the person that you co-sign a loan for makes all their payments, then it doesn't adversely impact you. But if they don't, it affects you. And it affects your credit rating. It could affect our ability to bond. I mean, these are all
Yes.
questions that we need to understand.
And the part where it could end up coming back to us is if the same mistake happens again.
Yeah.
And I also can kind of, there's so many gaps in information where, you know, I know that the individual who embezzled money, that was a substantial amount, but not everything.
Oh, it's not this, no.
It's not this. So then what
happened?
happened? What happened? Because that is that, but we can't blame all of that on that one person.
No, it's a substantial amount of taxpayer money has been dramatically mishandled. Are we going to put more after that? And I think the answer can't be, yeah, sure, we'll and see how it works out.
So I think,
Well, I don't agree with you on that.
I don't know that we, first of all, there's a
We don't
lot
have
that we
enough
don't
money.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know that taxpayer money was mishandled a substantial amount other than the money that was taken by an employee. But
I think we do know that.
I don't think we know that. I think what I heard, and maybe I heard it wrong, is that the library thought they had a big pot of money in their reserve fund, and they don't have that.
Yes, but that
There's-
doesn't speak well.
What they didn't have was somebody who knows how to run a nonprofit. That's what they didn't have.
It's a government.
But it's not just a nonprofit because it has a tax base coming to it. But I think that that nobody knows whether there was a big endowment that was, you know, was not endowment, but a reserve fund that was drained down illegally or drained down incrementally to balance the budget. That's what we don't know because we don't have the forensic accounting report. So I think, you know,
Well,
there was a lot to process last night. We're asking good questions. I think we asked more questions.
I think one of the things that I know we have that the board should be, Jerry,
Yeah.
the board should be given the auditor's reports that we have from the library.
James, do you want to go?
You want them-
Please.
You want us to-
No, I'm so sorry.
Let me just finish.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
It might be fun to watch though.
Who owns that property?
I think the library does.
Library district owns the property. They own the building, but it's our debt that is financing the building, that financed the building.
The finance, the renovation, it was always a building. They built
addition.
on in 2007.
There may be,
Jerry,
yeah,
could you share the auditor's reports that we have from the library with the board?
I will.
Okay.
You should.
These are the yearly audits that were performed.
That I have. I
That
don't
we
have I don't
Because I
have
asked the
up to
library-
21. I don't have 22. I don't have 22. I only have 20, up to 21.
Now, is this the auditor's report, like our audit, or
Yeah,
is
it's
this
our audit.
not the forensic audit?
No, this is our order, but it's informative.
Mhm.
It's important because we've learned how to read them. You learned how to read them. Some others may have not learned how to read them, but
I've not seen.
I need to point out something here that is a little bit, if you look at their budget, And I don't expect you, the five up there, to look at budgets the way Augie, Dan, and I look at budgets, where we take snapshots and we understand the numbers immediately. But I have to tell you, their salaries have increased 20% in the last 2 years. They only spent $2.3 million in 2022. I don't have the final numbers for 2023, but their budget in 2023, 2024 is $3.2 million. There's an extra $900,000 in increases over the last 2 years. Now, if you're looking at trying to save an organization and you have employees that you don't want to lay off, there is the option to go back to 2022 levels of salary, which will save $385,000. And tell everyone that there's ways of doing this that should have been, I think, looked at before they come to our board and say, we need $1.5 million in order to make our $3.9 million budget, of which $820,000 is a bond payment. The other thing I'm concerned about that we work very hard on, very hard as an organization, we sweat this one out. We have a bond rating increase. If we start paying other people's obligations, we're not going to have a bond rating increase in the future. We're going to have bond rating decreases. We're on the hook, whether anybody likes it or not, because we have the assurance on that bond payment for that building, for that improvement. We have to help them, but we also have to, and it can't be me because I'm the hard-nosed guy. It can't be me to show them that there's ways of saving money here. That is easily, all I have is a 2-page budget in front of me, and I can see savings like you can't believe here. So I don't know what's going on, but I know that there's a way that they want to, if they want to save themselves, they can without much pain, maybe a little bit of pain. I get that part, but not a lot of pain.
Do you have a more detailed budget besides what's publicized online? Or is this is it?
This budget, let me give you another example. They budget $90,000 a year for building maintenance. The highest they've ever spent, is $38,000 in the last 3 years, right? So this year, they budgeted another 90,000. You know that they're not going to use all that money. Maybe they'll use 40, they have 50. There's fluff in this budget that doesn't have to necessarily come to the board to ask for the full amount. There needs to be a look back, not a look back, but a focus of austerity, and then come to the board with the real numbers and say, I think this is the bare minimum that we can get by with. What I think they asked us last night, and I know I'm out of line for saying this, but I think they asked us last night was, we want to continue to operate the way we operate without any restriction. We need $1.5 million. Now, maybe I'm out of line, but the reality is there's a 20% increase in salaries here in the last 2 years. It went from $1.3 million to $1.29 million to
1.675.
$1.675 million.
Yeah.
Is that because
That's
they hired more? Is that because they hired more employees?
I don't know.
Yeah, like, do they have anything that's more
Yeah,
detailed?
there's no detail there.
It just shows the flat amount of salary and it's 1.6.
Our budget, everyone knows how much every person makes. They have their name there, they have their stipend, they have their.
No, I understand.
Do they have something like that though?
They haven't been
If
acting
they
like,
have it, I don't have it.
they haven't been acting like a government. They've been acting like a nonprofit.
But, what's crazy, what I don't understand is there are people from government on that board who have looked at budgets similar to our budgets, who understand those budgets. How are those people not asking for those kinds of numbers?
Can we request from them?
And let me say it again, I'm out of line. I'm not a taxpayer, I'm a rent payer in this village, but
They're a resident, so that's all right.
I'm out of line.
No, you're not, 'cause
Yeah,
I'm a
You know,
resident too.
I think that for whatever reason, the library clearly needs some financial help. We want to keep the library going.
Yes.
We are the only.
Game in town.
Yeah, unless there's, some incredible benefactor that hasn't raised their head yet. So,
It's legitimate.
maybe there's some, maybe there is value in, I don't know how much we help them figure out what they need to do to improve their budget process. I don't know what our role, what the appropriate role for anybody in the village is related to that. It's my understanding that to issue a ban is a time-consuming process. I don't know if we, commit in concept to doing one. I think you have to have the number at some point. I don't think the number is very last minute, but maybe there's, and this is an Augie question. He's the person that really does most of that, or a question for our bond counsel. But, maybe we can help to a lesser financial extent and help them get their budget tightened up a bit.
I think that,
I
I
have.
think we should help them keep the doors open on July 1st, June 1st, because nothing we're discussing here tonight is gonna be done by then.
No,
I think what Augie mentioned was that I imagine he probably.
And, I think then we use the next TAN as the focal point to get them to give us a plan that we are positive that their house is in order and that we are comfortable moving forward with the second TAN. But there has to be, meat on the bone.
You're right.
Can
We can pull off the first TAN within the next 7 weeks. We can do it if you want to do it. But then the next one is the big one.
Yeah.
The next one's the real one.
And if they can't put their house in order, then that might be the time to say, you know what? You're gonna default on this payment and we're gonna be the new library. But I think you gotta give them a chance.
I agree. You do have to give them a chance. But there are ways to look at this in both directions. Village, please help us because you have the bonding capacity to help us borrow some short-term money. And TANs are just short-term money. They have to be paid back quickly. But the other thing is, we need to look at our budget to see what, I know that the 5 of you would be telling me to do that. I know that some of you up there, 2 of you up there, told me to do that during the pandemic. We cut $2.5 million out of a $39 million budget. That was not an easy task, but it needed to be done. It needed to be done. Those are the kinds of things that crises, require.
There was no crisis management there last night.
No. What can we request from them to get for some more support to supplement whatever they did, whatever we're gonna call last night?
I think you can request anything that you feel is necessary. Ultimately, they have to be able to provide it.
Because I just look at this budget here, I just pulled it up quickly and it's like, there's zero detail on here. And to see the salary increases as we see goes from 1.291 to 1.6, are they increasing, or is that for 10 new staff members? Is that they're retaining the same amount of staff, but there are huge increases? I just think we need to
Write a
understand.
list of possible things that you think that you want to see, and then possibly is it okay, Tom, for him to send it to you
Yeah.
and do it like that? If we have requests that we want more information, write it down, send it to Tom. Tom can sit there and send it out to the powers that may be.
And is it okay if I say this? We want to help you in
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
But going forward, we need this information.
Yes, I'm okay with it. I know.
I just think, I don't like going and improving all 3 TANs. I'm okay with
No, we're gonna do
No,
one at a
but
time.
it's just one.
one at a time. I think that's the only way I will accept that, one at a time, but with the assurance that we're gonna get all these details coming before we can make a decision on the next ones.
If that's, I'm sorry, Lou, go
And
ahead.
I think we need to prepare.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
for
I agree with that.
legislation to end that tax issue, because
And I agree.
obviously, it hasn't been handled well since the beginning. And it was, you know, it may have seemed like a good idea in 1991. Apparently it wasn't.
We don't know what's happened for the past, we know what's happened now. You know, you don't know if it was mishandled. There was 30-something years before that.
So-
They had one person, all right.
So, but there's a lot we don't know, including what the process is for the village to take over the library. So before, we don't know whether, we don't know whether we have that authority.
Well, then
I-
that's, those
I-
are
I
questions
think-
that we
I think
can
it-
ask right
it's-
now.
I think if something was created by law, something could be dissolved by law. But we'll ask Paulzino.
And here's the other thing too. Is it possible for us to buy their property and they can use the proceeds from that property to clear up their mess and then they're our tenant? Can we do that?
And what do we get out of buying their property?
We get rent.
They can't afford to pay the bond.
Maybe we get a new city hall, new village hall.
Could they come present again?
What?
When, well, two questions. When is that forensic, do they know, have a timeline on when the forensic audit is gonna be done? Or is that just like, oh, this is happening?
Add that to the list.
And it's the idea that the auditor is going to train one of their employees to be an accountant. I mean, that.
It seems like they need to hire
No,
an
get an
accountant.
accountant. You should have had an accountant the whole time.
At least
I mean,
bookkeeper.
Yeah.
A book, I mean.
They needed a department. It seems like that's one person that did every financial aspect and they need
That's,
a
I mean,
department.
It was running like a mom and pop store.
it's penny wise and pound foolish. It was exactly the point I was making the other day when everybody gasped. And I said, if you cheap out on professional management, it can really bite you in the rear end down the road. And that adds.
I think that we don't know what happened. We know what happened seems to have been really bad, but we don't know what happened. Jerry has some good ideas on trimming budgets. I don't know whether it's appropriate for
They have
us.
to ask for the help.
They have to ask for the help, but is it awful to offer the help too? And I don't want to offer Jerry's help.
No, I'm
I
willing,
could offer
if-
that.
if-
I could offer
the
that in a
board-
letter.
but if the board provides a directive to asking us, some of us, me or anyone else, to help the library, of course, we're going to try to help the library. But we can talk and we can demonstrate and we can articulate, but they don't have to listen to us. I have to listen to you guys. So there's a different level there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's only if they're interested in our help and I'm
Yeah.
not, and I'm in no way would I,
Our money, they're interested in our help.
well,
It is our money. In a way, at the end of the day, it will be our money. And that's where the problem is, I think. We'll have to make up these bond
Initially,
payments.
let's
It's not our money.
let's not get ahead of our skis here. We're facilitating them borrowing money,
Mhm.
right? This is not our responsibility until they do not meet that obligation.
Mhm.
So let's just put it in perspective.
but you're right, except it is our responsibility to make it happen with assurances that we're making a good decision.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying, and I'm all for that, but I'm just saying, to say that this is, our money that we're giving, it's not, we're like you said before, it's like co-signing a loan.
Co-signing a loan. That's what we're doing. You're right. It's all we're
Uh,
doing.
But that's what we did for the library when they built the addition. And that was a huge piece of, that was, I think it's $15 million.
It was a big
It was, at the
endeavor.
time, it was big and it was controversial. And, I'd tell you the truth, there was 4 Republicans on the board with me who did it, and I give them a lot of credit. Because it was not.
It was a
popular
bold
decision.
step for the community.
Yeah, it was not a popular decision. So I think the first step is to have Augie start working on the 300,000, to come back to us to see what that entails, to talk to Bob to see what it entails to get at least the potential for, legislation. And
perhaps we can ask Jerry for a new number that is not 300,000, maybe it's less, and tell them this is what you got to work with.
But I don't have the knowledge that I have with our budget, that I have with their budget. They have to be willing to give it over the budget, to give over the budget, but I don't have the knowledge of the
I don't want to
organization.
take them over right now. I think that's a bad idea. Not
I
taking them.
can't,
over.
I don't have any
We're gonna
operational
go through your
experience.
budget and decide what you're gonna spend is taking them over. And you're
Can't do
using,
that.
the band as the focal point for that.
If they want to save themselves, they
How
can.
do you want it? I don't want to own it until I have to own it.
Well, I don't want to, somebody's gonna have to grab the wheel before the bus goes in the ditch.
And I think we're doing that, Lou.
I'm not inclined I'm not inclined to have the village take over the library. I think that's initially, I think it seems like not a great idea.
It
But-
might be where we gotta go at the end of the day.
But but I also think that, when you're in a crisis, sometimes you're not thinking straight, you're not making the best decisions. They've had a lot of decisions to make. Maybe they'll be open to try and trimming the budget, which would involve them needing less to borrow, less for us to borrow. I mean, I think it's worth, a try. I don't want to just be criticizing the library. It's a bad situation. We want to help them. One way we can help them is by issuing TANs. Another way we might be able to help them is having our good staff give them some advice if they want it. And maybe they won't want it, but maybe they will want it.
I mean, also like another good thing is what other support are they getting? Because I know they mentioned that they are getting other kind of community support, but I just think, I'm gonna put this in my email, but what,
Burrito sale.
They have people, having things, it's.
Yeah.
And even today, they issued a
Which is nice, but.
thing
No, it's
about,
not
and they
as, yeah,
didn't
drop in the
mention
bucket,
anything about what happened here last night, on their, I don't think they're focused.
You know what I think? I
It
think that,
doesn't fix the structural issue.
no, it's
Coming up next year.
100%.
I think
Yeah.
that historically, people who served in a library would have thought about it like serving on a not-for-profit. And they haven't thought about it, what it is an elected position. And it was fine when everything worked fine. But when everything doesn't work fine, it's a different mindset. You've been here a year and a half, you've faced more than a few crises in a year and a half.
I'm just.
No, I'm
stunned.
just-
stunned.
I know, but it's, as Nora said, and I'm agreeing with Nora tonight, more than I have in a long time. As Nora said, it's the hand you dealt. And, you gotta deal with the colleagues that you have. And listen, I looked out in the audience, they're all good people, there's,
I'm not saying that.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Nice people.
let's try and enable and inspire them to do better.
Who left that board in the last couple of years? Is it the people who left that board?
Add that to the list.
I said, I added.
I'd like to hear why they left.
Okay, then contact me.
Yeah, I will. I'm just flabbergasted.
It's hard to digest something when you don't have the full information, especially when something like this, especially when it comes down to money. And money, it always presents up when it goes missing or when it's not there or whatever happened, it just looks funny. That's just in any situation.
And I don't even know, is June 1st the real date? They said it was.
Yeah, their fiscal year follows ours.
Yeah.
So I said, if you don't get it by June 1st, you close your doors? And you said, yes. But I don't know that they're out of money on June 1st. Is that accurate? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's because I think what the rationale is just like in order for us to get through the first month of the fiscal year.
They have to have cash. in the
Yeah,
account.
we use our surplus to provide cash flow so we can pay our bills until the property tax starts coming in, we start collecting revenue. So it's just a matter of
They
having,
don't have that option.
they need cash flow to
Yeah, they're
pay their
covered.
bills through
Yeah.
that first couple of months.
Well, I understand that, but I'm not sure that June first is the date.
Well, I think if they have no fund balance, they have no way of
That's
meeting their
that's
financial
when their
demands
fiscal
from the
year's-
beginning of the fiscal year.
They're coming at zero.
Yeah, their fund balance is zero.
Yeah.
Manny.
And-
Manny, you want the, look at the. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about $11,500 in additional revenue that they receive, other than raising money by taxation or using fund balance. So in 2021, they used $526,000 worth of fund balance. In 2022, I'm sorry, 2022, they used 526, 2023, they used 577. And in 2024, their current budget, they used $866,000 worth of fund balance. They basically have no revenue except raising taxes. They have about
They-
11,500 in
So
other
they're-
revenue.
They projected using $800,000.
Yeah, I'm just reading the budget. Yep, that's exactly right.
So their only additional revenue besides taxes is that 11,500.
Yeah.
Their classes are free, they're.
So there's no grants, there's not, it's
There's
just
nothing.
tax.
State aid is 4,000, Manny. I mean, it's nothing.
And I
Don't
talk
do
to
fines when it goes so
people
far.
who donate money, and there ain't nobody who's gonna donate money.
No,
No, no.
this is gonna hurt them in the long run.
I mean, it's
This is kind of like why I feel like December is a real focal point. And, you know,
Just paying attention to what the voters want.
I think it's important for us to be ready for December.
I agree.
But December is the real focal point. So, you know, everywhere I go, somebody asks me about the library,
but what?
the library.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
Is there a meeting in here tonight?
Yeah, we gotta get out of here.
Thank God, close it up.
Don't you have a meeting tonight?
Yeah,
Right here,
don't
right?
I?
No.
No.
HCPM is here.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. for
Thank
pulling
you, everybody. Thanks, Dan, for being there.
up.